What's going on? Welcome to another edition of Hustlers Kung Fu Live. We're going to talk about 3 million plus people have lost their jobs in June. That's very, very important. Also, the Houston protesters are starting to test positive for the coronavirus. And Florida is starting to close bars and restaurants because the corona is spiking. We have a massive uptick in Florida, Texas, and Arizona. So what's going on here? What is going on here? Because I got a few things I want to share with you guys. Make sure that I go ahead and get that information to the text notification list. Whoa. All right. So this is what's going down in, you know, it's June, it's warm, yet people are still getting the corona. The corona is still running rampant. However, it seems that the current Rona isn't as potent as the Rona that was up in New York. The Rona in New York was just taking people out left and right. But it seems that, Texas, Houston, Florida, the cases are going up. The protesters, there was a lot of people who was like, hey, these folks all here protesting, and now we're here 2 weeks later, and the protesters are starting to get the corona. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. So let's go up to the first thing we want to talk about today. We're going to talk about unemployment. I know there are many people who are talking about we're going to have a V-shaped recovery, but see, we had 23 million people unemployed. I think this was May. Trying to get. So we had 23 million people unemployed in April, 20 million people unemployed in May, and we have about 3 million plus unemployed in June, which is an improvement because we had 23 and 20. And if we end the month with 6 to 8 million people unemployed, that would be a win. But for all you V-shaped recovery people who call me a fearmongerer, how come people are still losing their jobs? See, what's that song? We started at the bottom and now we're here. Well, we got to get to the bottom before we can get here. And we ain't at the bottom yet. We may still have people being laid off in July and August. I want you to think about that. And this is really, really important because, Donald Trump is talking about we're not shutting down the country again. That ain't his call. And one of the things that is starting to happen, Florida, Texas, Arizona set new records for COVID-19 cases in a day. I want you to think about that. And, 21 states are reporting an increase in COVID-19 cases. 10 of them are seeing a spike of 50% or more, with Florida, Texas, and Arizona setting records for the most cases in a single day. In Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis to continue with plans to reopen the Sunshine State despite it seeing the highest single day increase of confirmed coronavirus infections since the start of the pandemic. Now, I told you guys what was going to happen. I told you guys that regardless of the infection rate, the states were going to keep opening. And if the death rate quadrupled, they would keep going. Because this is where we are. They've seen the damage that closing down the states. And also, it's getting a little tricky to reopen the states. Because there's a lot of businesses that are not going to reopen. And there are people who are still getting unemployed. And this is something that you need to keep your eye on. The number of people who are still losing their jobs. And we're going to go in phases because the people who are losing their jobs, going back to this graph, this was the pandemic loss of jobs. Now, what is happening is people are starting to lose their jobs because of the hostile corporate environment, because the corporations are like, hey, Jill makes $190,000 a year, but John and Bill are out producing her and they only make 50. So we're getting more bang for our buck out of these 100K for these two employees than we are getting out of Jill at this 190. So Jill is about to get a notification from human resources. Jill's about to be Jill's about to catch a pink slip. And also 16's friends test positive for coronavirus after outing at a Florida bar. So it's starting to happen. On Facebook, I had a lot of people was like, well, all these folks are protesting. All these folks are going out. But where's the increase in the coronavirus? Well, here it is. Here it is. A group of 16 friends all tested positive for the coronavirus after a night out at a recently reopened Florida bar. 3 members of the group who spoke to CNN, Chris Cuomo, said they wanted to remind the public the pandemic is not over yet. All 16 of them got the corona. So more than likely, I would assume that maybe a waiter or waitresses had the corona and went ahead and dropped a little corona on each one of them. All 16 of them got it. But it doesn't seem to be as potent as it was up in New York. It doesn't seem to be the case. But this is going to be a hiccup for the reopening. All right, so it's like states reopening, we're calling back our people, and then people are starting to get sick. 21 states, the corona is exploding. I was watching, let's see. And also, Houston protesters started to test positive for COVID-19. Like I said, you could see this. Protester from the last few weeks has started testing positive for coronavirus COVID-19. Roughly 2 weeks ago, Sharmon Turner and her friends joined a large demonstration for George Floyd. An estimated 60,000 people were in attendance, marching from Discovery Green to Houston City Hall. I actually got sick the day after the march. I could not move out of the bed. I was in the bed just sighing. See? And this is what's... Texas governor says no reason today be alarmed as corona cases set a record. Texas governor says young people are driving the coronavirus surge. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said Tuesday that the state is seeing a surge in coronavirus cases from people under 30. The state hit new highs Tuesday in the number of new infections and the number of new hospitalizations since the outbreak began. There were 2,622 new cases of the coronavirus recorded Tuesday, surpassing the previous record that was set June 10th, said the Texas Department of Public Health. The state also has 2,518 new hospitalizations, the fifth day of record highs. Ray Charles could have saw that this was coming. Ray Charles could have accurately predicted that you open up the states, the corona is still hanging around, lurking in corners, and it jumped on people. It just jumped on people. But this is why I made the predictions that I made, and this is why I said the things that I said, that we're going to have issues with this for a while, probably to the rest of the year. This is probably going to be with us the rest of the year, and we're going to have some issues with the corona, the Rona. So let's talk about this global reset. One of the things that is happening is, as America, we're going to go through this pretty much probably to December, probably to this time next year. We're going to have rolling waves of infections. We're going to have openings and closings, and it's going to be crazy. It's going to be nuts. And one of the things that you got to understand about this global reset, because I want you to understand that this is what happened in China is going to happen here. And China is trying to contain, China races to contain a second wave of the coronavirus cases in Beijing. So what is happening over in China is going to happen here. I mean, this is the deal. This is what's up. This is what's going to happen. And as we have these rolling waves of infections and opening and closing, and we're going to have a lot of people who are going to be scared to go outside. I'm here in Georgia, which oddly enough, which was the first state to open. It's not really spiking here. You know, it's kind of crazy. It's actually going down. Oh, well, wait a minute. Well, change that. Well, the cases in Georgia are starting to rise again. Corona cases on the rise again in Georgia. We're much closer to the beginning than the end of this, says expert. Georgia's reported coronavirus cases rose in each of the past 2 weeks, and clusters of counties across the state have experienced spikes in new cases, state data shows. So, it's starting to happen here in Georgia. And this is going to be really problematic I mean, very problematic for the V-shaped recovery that people keep hoping and wishing. And you know, it's funny. Someone on my Facebook page was like, "Hey, you know, Vegas is at 75% capacity," and a Hustlers Kung Fu life skills student like, "No, it ain't. I'm here in Vegas, and this, you know, and he's lived in Vegas for a few years, and he said we're nowhere near close to it." You know, people are lying. People are fibbing. People are telling tall tales because I understand. I saw this comment on the YouTube video. It's like, I'm tired of bad news. And I think that's where we are, that people want to live in a fantasy versus dealing with the reality. What's that song by The Barge? Living in a fantasy versus reality. I mean, you know, this is where we are. But the global reset is on. It is on and popping, and you can expect that we will be hearing about the Rona for the next 12 to 18 months. And we're going to have these situations where people are going to be dealing with the Rona, and they're going to be dealing with these situations. And also, if the Rona gets cray-cray, we may have another shutdown of the economy. Hopefully that doesn't happen. And for us to shut the economy down again, it's going to have to get it's going to have to get New York State. It's going to have to get New York City bad across the country. That's how bad it's going to have to get. So hopefully it doesn't get that bad. Is like, we can look at what New York is doing. And New York has flattened the curve. I mean, they out in New York. I don't see no social distancing. They back out, people hanging out. Social distancing did not appear to be a top priority for many people gathered in Manhattan's Hell's Kitchen neighborhood on Saturday. Folks be out. People are on Tinder. They're on Bumble. They're doing what they're doing. They're getting together. And we just going to ride this thing out. That's what's going to happen. This is be the facts. This is what's going to go on. But I want you guys to understand that because like, I honestly believe that the coronavirus was man-made and it got loose, or it was intentionally set loose, because here's the thing. The way that it presents in so many different populations is crazy. And apparently the Rona has gotten weaker, because not as many folks are being hospitalized. Folks are just getting sick. They're going through 2 weeks of being sick and they're getting better. So I think as long as that keeps going on, we ain't closing down the economy. We're not closing down the economy. We ain't doing none of that. None of that at all. So one of the things I want you guys to understand is, in terms of the global reset, and we may see people lose their jobs, because right now it's kind of hard. We may be close to, because we were at 44 million the end of May with people losing their jobs, and we've had 3 million. So that puts us at 47 million people. Let me show y'all something. Let me pull out the calculator. And also with college football, a lot of these colleges are having practices and a lot of players are getting sick. But fortunately, these players are in optimum health. They're in the best health of their life. So I think that they're going to get over it. But I'm about to show y'all something. All right. 160 million people. That was the population, right? That was the working population. Okay. Minus 25%. That's 40 million. That's 40 million. Let's go ahead and do this again. 160 minus 27%. All right. Minus 27%. That's 43 million. All right. Let's go 160 minus 29%. %, is 46,400,000. If we, let's see, do 160 minus 30%. Minus 30%. 48 million people unemployed is 30% unemployment. We are that close to 30% unemployment. Highest unemployment we've ever had. And when you go to the Google machine and you try to figure out how many people unemployment, it gets real dicey because they'll have statistics from May and April, and on June it doesn't. But we're really close to 50 million people unemployed. Really, really close. And I've had people who've challenged me this on that because they don't want to do the research. They don't want to do the math. Like this whole thing when Trump's like, unemployment's 13.3%. That was such a lie. It was such a bogus lie. And it's crazy how many people wanted to believe the lie. It's not. All right, so what is one to do during this global reset? Let's talk about solutions. We got 3 million people unemployed, 3 million plus unemployed in June. Florida's shutting down bars. Texas, the Rona is just everywhere. The Rona is messing up a lot of people's lives. What do you need to do? You need to start a business. I know that people don't want to do this and all of this stuff, but you need to start a business so you can create some cash flow, so you can get some stuff going, so you can begin to create. Because see, for this 48 million people, and literally in June, we could be at 50 million people unemployed. You understand how harsh that is? And a lot of these people who are unemployed, and the folks that we're counting for unemployment are the people who were able to file. You will go, let me see. You will go, this is what's going on. We have a lot of people who millions can't access unemployment benefits, so actual job losses are likely greater than data shows. And this was April the 28th. So unemployment could literally be 50%, 30%, or 31%. Good Lord. Look at this. We got a lot of people who are having issues, out of work because of the Rona, struggling to file for unemployment. Some dial their state office hundreds of times while others are met with frozen websites. Right now, people are catching it. People are going through it. People are having issues. And I know hopefully this pandemic exposes what you need to do to begin to prepare yourself, to position yourself where you don't have to go through this again. I mean, it's crazy what's happening with people. Let me see. Let me get up in these comments. What's up, people? What's up in the Dominican Republic? Foxy Girl 646. Good morning. It's getting crazy in Houston. All the bars and parties. Short change. I was sick. Not sure if it was COVID-19, but I'm good now. You young, man. You young. You could create a lot of money if you start an online business. Patrick, they definitely need another stimulus for the second wave coming. Well, because it's an election year, you might see another check. You might see one. Goddess Noel, yes, I think a lot of people are still in that first wave. Miss Finance people here in Florida forgot about the Rona, out and about in big groups with no mask. Chaki, I think a lot of people are situating. They're getting a lot of stuff done around the house that they haven't had a chance to do. Terrell, we're not even out of the first wave. Randall, I'm in Houston now. I figured we were in trouble when our governor said there are more important things than living. Wow. He actually said that. Yes, Rep. And we'll have to see about these vaccinations when they come out. Calculate risk. All the stats are at least a week behind. Actually, yeah, a week or two. Hospitals report their numbers weekly, and states down and reopen probably want to scare people into being frugal. The economy is more important. We got to get the economy rocking and rolling again. Oh, the numbers are definitely manipulated. Exactly, short change. Well, that's funny because at one point, Patrick, they were saying the cases were going down in Georgia, but that doesn't. Patrick, Yes, people hate the truth. Lewis Lemons the third, Las Vegas at 40%. Shit's depressing. You can tell how Vegas is doing by the people that are walking the strip. It is dead. Calculated risk, pretty much. Randall Trump is the big reason Corona's in the first place, downplaying and lying to people. Hey, yep, the Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is incompetent. To be fair, nobody knows how to deal with this. I mean, it's crazy. Erica Williams, we out. Go, go, go. Saw 3 weddings outdoors this week. The country can't hide in their homes. Not going to work. Like I said, we ain't closing down again unless the corona gets really New York City bad across the country. It ain't going to close again. Shortchange strip clubs in California have been packed. What? That's going to mess up their OnlyFans action. Antonio Williams, last 2 months I took and bought a truck, cash, commercial, more cash, and quit watching the news. Young millennials are the ones that think the wrong is fake. Calculated risk, that's why a lot of people still think that we're on that first wave. Misfinance, yeah, this is one of the things I keep watching because, all these folks, I got these folks who are like, hey, V-shaped recovery, V-shaped recovery, V-shaped recovery, right? But we still have people losing their jobs. Like that song, we started at the bottom. We got to get to the bottom before we can start going up, and we ain't at the bottom yet. On Savage Finance, I talked about the stock market explained in plain English, so check that out. And it should, yes, that additional 600 it literally has 6 more weeks to go. If the virus is fake or a hoax, it doesn't matter. Their plan works. Shut our economy down without one bullet being fired. Young Farrell was on this early and his video was removed. I think the virus is real, but I feel that shutting down the economy was a big mistake because you're seeing the issue with trying to restart or to get the economy going again. I mean, we should have just rolled this thing out from the beginning because, I mean, it's really bad trying to restart the economy now. What's going on? William, everybody like at 30% unemployment, that means 70% of the people still employed. There's plenty of money out there. I think they like me. I'm in Vegas. I'm barely holding on to my job. I do security. Even though the department has seen major losses. Well, Vegas got hit hard. Vegas got hit really, really hard. The economy's not going to matter if we're all dead. I don't think we're all going to die. But this is one of the situations that is happening. Right now, this global reset is real. And what's happening is Americans are being reprogrammed for poverty. You lose your job, you're on unemployment, then the unemployment runs out, and then it becomes panic. it becomes a crazy thing. Black Pill Ned Stacks, thanks for the $5 super chat. Antonio, after all this, I plan on 3 businesses running, one income strictly dedicated to my family's health. Hey. Yeah, there is a new, because they've reset the stimulus money. So I may do a stream about that later. Because essentially, I want you to think, right now we're in the state of the Hunger Games. The fittest survive. Like, what you're going to see is the strongest people and the people who are positioned. And let's talk about positioning. Like, if you didn't have money saved in 2019, you didn't have enough time to get ready for this. So right now, this economy is exposing all of the people who are in a good position. Amazon making money hand over fist. Amazon's trying to get people to stop using their website because they're so busy and they're trying to catch up. I want you to think about that. That's a nice problem to have. But what we're going to have is a version of the Hunger Games where people are going to be competing. And see, you're not going to be able to get a job in corporate America and hide anymore. You know, people out here living their lives, because I think that many people have made the decision that if I get the Rona, I get the Rona. I'm going to deal with it. I think that's the calculation that many people have made, and they're going out, they're hanging out, they're partying, they're going to the beach, they're taking vacations. But what's going to happen is, because we have this large segment of the population that believe the Rona is real, they're not going to participate in the economy, and this is going to stop this V-shaped recovery. It ain't going to happen. It's a fantasy. And also, as long as we continue to have mounting unemployment, you know, it's not 6.6 million people per week, but I want you to think, if we had 1.5 million people lose their jobs, because right now we have what? 24 weeks times 1.5. 24 times 1.5. If we were to keep having unemployment, that would be 36 million people. So we got to get a grip on this, because unemployment is really, really scary right now, because we could literally have 50 million people unemployed right now, which is beyond 30%. It's about 32% unemployment. And the second waves of layoffs are not due to the Rona. The second wave of layoffs are due to corporate America's figuring out who's working, who's not working. And they're getting rid of these folks. The economy was not in great shape before the pandemic. The virus was a great reason to shut down. This is the perfect storm, Monica Flores. Yeah, you know, I've been talking about the real economy for about 3 years. And I want you to think about this. We only shut down for 3 months. And look at all of the calamity. Look at all of the bad things that have happened. Victor Vancelli, Huntington Beach, California, bars and restaurants were solid packed. No one was wearing a mask during the weekend. I live in an upscale area, so Orange County started to see so many homeless around. A Banks, my sister's works for a railroad company that just laid off staff and a supervisor. You got to ask yourself, what is happening? Why are people still getting laid off with the states opening up? Because, with my video talking about the velocity of money, when money stops, this is a very bad thing for business. It is a really bad thing. Spanish flu went 3 years. Old head deuce. I did not know that. Extraordinary money. What I said about making, you can make, you got to, all right, you got to start a business. Extraordinary money. You got to start a business. What I meant by that is if you start a business, like, my company, I have 4 employees, 5 including myself. Years ago, to do what we're doing would have taken a staff of 30 to 40 people. And I use a lot of automation and tech. So what you got to do is start a business and start deploying automation and tech. What you got to do is, like this Thursday, tomorrow, in fact, I'm doing a live webinar. The link should be below, talking about how to retrain yourself for the new economy. Because if you're still operating on the old economy rules, you're toast. It ain't gonna work out for you. So they can hire folks back for cheap, pretty much, because like right now, what was the old economy running on? Credit. I call it the Great American Credit Indoctrination System. And right now, Chase, American Express have literally closed 70 million credit card accounts. So people, it's like you're an addict, right? And you get cut off. What happens? You start going through withdrawals. And America's going through withdrawals. And once this unemployment stops and once these unemployment benefits run out and people can't get credit, that's when you're going to see the Hunger Games. That's when you're going to see people cutting up. This is when we may have a different kind of riot and protest. Also, contractors in the housing market laid off their staff that preps homes to be bought in turnkey for buying a house to do paperwork. Really? Hollywood Prep, what type of automation do you use? I use websites. I use software. I use Zapier. I still suggest, like, look, if you are a person without a lot of skills, and you don't know what you want to be when you grow up and you have no plan, a service business is the fastest way for you. Recently, I had to call a plumber because I had a drain that was stopped up. I mean, it was really bad because you take a shower and like 2 inches of water would pop up in the shower. I had to call a plumber and it was like $169. Service business. The plumber came. He was here like an hour, made $169. Well, that's what the company made. I don't know what he made. So one of the things you have to understand is if you don't know what you want to do when you grow up, a service business is the fastest and most viable way for you to make money. But once again, you got to work. Like, go ahead and see my video, The Power of Work. So many people are so lazy. They don't want to work. They don't want to do anything. They want to get big money for minimum effort. And in no universe does that work out. It just doesn't. Yes, service business. People are pressure washing. Like, During this Rona thing, there have been these, I'm going to say, there's two black guys who've been riding around in a truck with straw, knocking on doors. Like, hey, I got some straw. And they've been in this neighborhood several times and they've been getting business. During the Rona, riding around in a truck with straw on it, knocking on doors, getting business. During the Rona. See, you make a choice whether you're going to win or lose. That's upon you if you're going to win or lose. And a lot of people have decided, Rona or no Rona, I'm going to get my money. Check out the video. Who's holding your money? Six days a week, 16 hours a day, 3K a week, fax, S-Rep. Yeah, a lot of people have decided that they're going to get their money, Rona or no Rona. Like this a salon owner in Texas who got like what $1 million. Let's see, what salon owner GoFundMe. Let's see, how much money did she get? Send me to jail for $500,000. Let's see, Shelly Luther. I'm trying to find the page. Where is it? Let's see. I'm trying to find. And let's see. Apparently it's gone. GoFundMe. Let's see. I can find George Floyd. Like George Floyd is up to 14 million, 14.3 million. And his daughter, she's got 2 million. So, but I could not find Shelly Luther. Don't know what's going on with that. But Shelly Luther, she could have started me an OnlyFans page and made some money. Candace Dina, after 3 months of shutting down the economy, a lot of folks have adjusted to the norm, rearranged their purchasing habits and priorities, which are hurting the economy even though things are reopening. Pretty much. All right, Antonio Williams. Ray is a beast. Yes, you do. I think so. Mobile homes, definitely. Mobile homes are definitely gonna make a comeback. All right, so this is what's happening tomorrow at 7 p.m. I'm going to do a live webinar about how to make money from scratch. It's going to be talking about what do you need to do to retrain yourself, to reprogram yourself. The link is below. So with that, I will see you folks later.